6, and it finishes with number 25 Washington upsetting number 6 Oregon 37-34. The last 7 minutes of this game were spectacular. Beginning with, man, we got to see the run game get started for Washington. Not something I thought we would say going into this game, because the Pac-12 has really been about throwing the ball, specifically if you are Washington. It's one of the best passing offenses in all of football. But Oregon is not here to be crowned Pac-12 champion just yet, but they are getting pushed by a Washington team that I thought, for instance, was going to get dunked on. As a matter of fact, having this great conversation with myself last week about should I rank Washington, knowing what happened the last time I ranked them. And then Bo Nix decided, yeah, RJ, maybe keep that one in the bag, as he is absolutely throwing downfield, finding guys like Troy Franklin open, finding guys like Dante Thornton open. And this game felt like it was going to be one in which Oregon could control it, especially knowing what Bo Nix is able to do in the passing game and what Bucky Irving was able to do in the run game. Look, Oregon had a 23-game winning streak at Autzen Stadium coming into this. And I talked to a couple of friends of mine that are Oregon and Washington fans, and they felt like this is going to go Oregon's way the whole way. And you could see why. Bucky Irving is breaking tackles. He's not eluding people. He's running over the Washington defense that just had all sorts of problems trying to corral him. 19 rushes for 141 yards. Goodness me. We get to see Michael Penix Jr. doing what he does. Absolutely stands in the face of Justin Flo getting annihilated and throws one deep for a TD. And now it's 27-24 Washington when Oregon strikes back, takes the lead once again. Troy Franklin had himself a game, 5 catches, 139 yards, and a TD. But this was the throw of the day for me. Goodness, we saw Michael Penix Jr., left-handed quarterback, throw across the field from the far hash on a deep out route against the safety who split the field. And then we turn that into a TD that really puts Washington back in a position to make this a fight. But toward the end of the game, inexplicably, we have Oregon choosing to go for it on 4th and 1 with the backup quarterback in. Now, before this, Bo Nix had suffered an ankle injury on a 3rd down play that probably would have iced the game had he picked it up on a QB draw. He's not able to do that. Ty Thompson has to come into the game. It didn't even feel like on that 4th and 1 that they were going to go for it. It felt like they were going to try to wind the clock down. As a matter of fact, they snapped the ball with 8 seconds left and 1 minute, 34 seconds on their own 35-yard line. And we get Noah Whittington absolutely slipping down, falling down on that 4th and 1 turnover. You give Washington the ball within field goal range, and then Peyton Henry gets to go be a hero. 37-34 is the end of the game. Again, it's just Dan Lanning's going to have to answer that question. And I hope he's got a really good answer in store, because the more you run that play back, you got Bo Nix on the sideline who was jumping up and down in Dan Lanning's ear, yelling at him, please let me go back into the game. I'm the guy. This is my team. I'm the person who has brought you back from dead, a 46-point loss to Georgia, and put the Ducks on my back. And no, we go with Ty Thompson. And I felt perhaps Ty Thompson didn't get the call. Maybe he didn't know that he was supposed to hard count. Maybe it's just as simple as Noah Whittington falling down at a time when I'm going, Bucky Irving is your bell count back. If you're going to go for it on 4th and 1, give it to that dude. And they just come up just a little bit short. Feel terrible for Ty Thompson. Feel even worse for Noah Whittington. And I feel awful for that Oregon defense that felt like they played their behinds off. But frankly, just toward the end, you could see how the Washington Huskies were just pulling it out. This is from our buddy Jeff, who does these spaces with me, also an Oregon Duck fan. This is a painful loss. Way too many mistakes tonight. Brutal, man. Yes, because this slams the door on Oregon's college football playoff hopes. For a couple of weeks now, we had been debating, is this team good enough to secure the number 4 spot in the college football playoff? The dunker spot is what I've called it, and get a rematch, quite honestly, against the Georgia team that embarrassed them in Atlanta. And it probably would have had that rematch in the Peach Bowl. Would have been basically, are you the same team? Have you actually got that much better? Or is your schedule just that much softer? Are you really in this to win it? And more than that, it hurts for the Pac-12 and it hurts for Oregon, because they're probably out of the Pac-12 championship if things continue to go to the yard. Still got to get past a really tough Utah team and a really tough Oregon State team, quiet as it's kept. I kept watching this game and I kept going, is Michael Penix Jr. really going to pull this out? Is he really going to find a way? And that's exactly what he did. 26-35, 408 yards, 2 TDs, and a pick. That pick, though, felt like that was going to seal it for Oregon, because you're at the 1-yard line or close to it. You have basically one dude is quadruple covered, and Michael Penix Jr. makes the ill-advised throw into a crowded area. It's tipped. The Ducks catch the ball on the 1 yard line, and it's turnover. That felt like the end of the game to me, but it was not. Credit to them for fighting back. Credit that defense that gave up 592 yards to Oregon. Oregon put up 592 yards and scored 34 points in a loss. Like, that's remarkable. That's ridiculous. And again, if you're Washington, bend, don't break. That's all you're asked to do. Bend, don't break. Keep your fight in it. And for them to get this kind of play out of Michael Penix Jr., Jalen McMillan also had a great day. I believe he had 9 catches for 122 yards. Also, what more can I say about the kind of game that Bo Nix put on display for us? Like, one of the things that I really enjoyed is how he'd been able to settle himself at Oregon. The thing to know about Bo Nix is that when he committed and was the starter at Auburn, he was seen as a prodigy, right? He had set Alabama passing records in high school. He was going to be the guy to bring Auburn back to, frankly, what it hadn't been since Cam Newton was their starting quarterback. And what he found out was, having 3 offensive coordinators in his time there, he wanted to make every play perfectly, and he got really hung up in trying to do that. At Oregon, he's able to resettle. Kenny Dillingham says, hey, man, you don't have to make every play. You just got to make the correct decision. We're going to slow the game way down for you. We're going to put these great pieces around you, and you're going to be our guy. Man got married over the summer. He settles into marital life, going to church every Sunday like he's supposed to. He doesn't swear. Like, he's doing the model thing at Eugene, and this is just a heartbreaking loss for an Oregon team that, frankly, I thought was dead after their week 1 loss. I know we got to play 15 weeks of college football, but I was really impressed by what the Ducks have shown us since week 2. I mean, they've averaged 43 plus points per game, and that's after only scoring 3 against Georgia. It's going to be a really tough team toward the end. I want to see them finish this, get to 10 wins, and see what else they're possibly made of. For Washington, goodness me, I got to say, Kalen DeBoer has to be turning heads down there at Seattle, because I had some really frank conversations with Washington fans going, you guys don't understand this. He's really good. Like, Fresno State was really good last year. And when he was the OC at Indiana with Michael Penix Jr., he was really good. And they're going, we're Washington. What are we going to do with a guy like Kalen DeBoer? Well, you're going to go knock off the best team in your conference, and you're going to make a name for yourself. You're going to keep moving up these top 25 rankings and see where you end up, because there's no shade to it, but Washington could end up a top 10 team if some things break their way. And they still might, because we've got a couple of really great weeks of college football left. Again, I'm just impressed. I really am. We saw 2 transfer quarterbacks who were pronounced dead at Indiana, and Michael Penix Jr. felt broken. You heard Brock Hewitt on the call say his spirit was broken. He saw him call those games. And then you had a Bo Nix who was damaged goods, right? One of the worst 2019 5-stars anybody's seen, going into that same group of guys that just underperformed, but have found a second life. Jaden Daniels also in there. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but goodness, I was impressed. I was very excited to see these dudes going at it. And frankly, against the other game in prime time, Washington and Oregon delivered. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.